Hello, good evening, and bonjour, mes amis. Next up, we entertain Olympique Lyonnais, hereinafter referred to as Lyon to save my arthritic typing wrist from further punishment. It's the first leg of the quarter-finals of the Thursday Night League. Kick-off's at 8 p.m, so good luck with the rush hour. So, Lyon then. They were formerly the works team for a chain of tea shop/restaurants known as corner houses. They were formed to give the waitresses, known as nippies, something to do on half-day closing Wednesday. Or possibly not. Daisy's been in an odd mood lately, so I'd be inclined to question her research and take it with a large pinch of salt. They qualify for this stage of the Thursday Night League by waltzing through their group, from which Rangers also qualified, with 5 wins and a draw. In the knockout stage, they picked up a possibly surprising 1-0 win in the away leg at Porto, drawing 1-1 at home to get through to face us. At home domestically, however, it's been a different story in the league, which is not one of Europe's strongest. They currently sit in 9th place with 45 points from the 30 games they've played so far. It would have been 46 points, but they had a point deducted for the crowd trouble that led to the abandonment of their league match against Marseille. This has left them 6 places and 6 points off the Thursday Night League qualifying spot. Hopes of a different route for European qualification through the Cup were dashed when both they and their opponents Paris FC were booted out of the French Cup when their tie was abandoned, again thanks to crowd trouble. I see a pattern emerging here. There are some familiar names in their squad. Former Fulham frontman Moussa Dembele seemed to be on his way out this time last year, having shipped out on a loan with an option to buy deal to Atletico Madrid, with the Spaniards looking to shell out something like £35 million for the player if they exercised their option. However, the loan didn't work out and the clause wasn't exercised, though Atletico did express an interest in signing a fresh deal with Lyon, again with an option. Lyon's appetite for another period of uncertainty wasn't great, and with the departure of Memphis to Barcelona, or was that Barcelona to Memphis? Who knows? Dembele was likely to get more opportunities this season, and he scored 8 times in all competitions across this season. Left-back Emerson will also be a familiar sight, being as he is one of the 4 million players out on loan from Chelsea this season. With Chelsea's future as a money launderette uncertain, and a contract which Daisy reckons expires at the end of this season, Emerson, or more probably his agent, will likely be circulating his name around clubs both in England and sur le continent. Top scorer in both the Thursday Night League and across all competitions is Toko Ekambi. In fact, with 6 goals, he's the top scorer in the Thursday Night League overall. So from our perspective, at least, it's not entirely bad news that a positive COVID test will keep him out of the first leg. Though, having had the dreaded virus myself not that long ago, I wouldn't wish it on anyone, with the possible exception of Mike Dean. The man between the sticks is French-born Portuguese international Anthony Lopez. Lopez managed to suffer a double vertebra fracture a few years back, something that went undiagnosed by the match officials for several minutes as, being professional referees, they were totally unaware of what a backbone actually is. He's been with Lyon all his career and has a place in history as being part of the squad that finished runners-up to PSG in what was the last French League Cup ever last season, failing to keep up enough of the spot kicks put away by PSG in the final shootout. I think this is as good a point as any at which to visit the wild and wacky world of association football. And the aforementioned Mike Dean has been mouthing off all week in the press about the alleged death threats he and his family are supposed to have received after he gave yet another perverse and unfathomable decision against us last season. Now, the interview mentioned that the culprits had been dealt with by the constabulary, although Daisy could find no mention of anybody being convicted when she had a look the other day. Maybe somebody could point us in the right direction. Also, as part of the self-serving interview, Dean let slip the fact that Dennis Bergkamp was one of his favourite players, which would go to some way to explaining why he stood and watched as the aerophobic thug elbowed Lee Bower in the face, breaking his jaw. The fact is that Dean has made a career out of willfully giving perverse decisions that he clearly knew to be wrong at the time. In that respect, he's been as big a cheat as anybody wearing a red shirt on the other side of the Mersey from his Wirral home. And, whilst nobody condones the death threats, assuming that they happened, it's an undeniable fact that PGMOL's membership will become either slightly less incompetent or slightly less corrupt once he's retired. But only slightly. Elsewhere, the World Cup draw was completed last week. I didn't bother to tune in as I didn't have 3 days of my life to waste watching. as FIFA try to find new and unusual ways of overcomplicating what should be a relatively simple process of drawing a few balls out of some brandy goblets. That proposal to have the World Cup every 2 years, it'll never happen. You want to know why? It's because at the current rate of growth, the draw will soon take 3 years to do every time. England have drawn the US, Iran and, one hopes, Ukraine, with there being a major audit of unhatched poultry going on north and west of the borders on the island of Great Britain as we speak. Let's move on to us. The win at the weekend was, well, workmanlike rather than spectacular. Despite Lampard Jr.'s ludicrous claims that his sides were worth a point, yeah, right, his team got precisely what they deserved. Even their goal, which on first sight from the other end of the ground looked to be a good finish, took a wicked deflection on closer analysis. The fact is, as I said last week, anyone hiring Lampard Jr. as manager does so with no real sensible logic to back such a decision. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. On the injury front, Lanzini was missing from the squad on Sunday, having suffered a bit from being the passenger in a somersaulting Merc. One hopes the chauffeur is okay. Lanzini will be missing from this one too, as he's a one-match ban following the yellow he picked up against Sevilla. Johnson's thigh injury seems to have healed up, while Soufal may have to wait a little bit longer for game time after his hernia op, and Ogbonna continues to work on his rehab. And so to the prediction. Me learned and very much younger colleague Callum Goodall has prepared a splendid tactical analysis of our opponents, which suggests that whilst they have their moments going forward, they're not all that confident at the back. This could be another special night in front of the lights, if the support give it the full Sevilla, and I can see us getting a decent lead to take across the channel next week. So the £2.50 I've been saving up to bribe Mike Dean to retire will instead be going on a home win. Make it 3-1 to us, please, Mr. Winston. Enjoy the game.
So we're here in the offices of a Late Late Show with the host of a Late Late Show, James Corden.
Hi.
Big West Ham fan.
Yes. And big knees up Mother Brown, man.
Yeah.
Get on the forum at kumb.com. Come on, you irons.